I'm Rick Zamperin, and this is a Canada Day edition of the CHCH Newsmakers podcast. If there's one reality TV show that you'd like to be on, which would that be? For me, hands down, it would be Amazing Race Canada, as you get to experience our great country in a fun and sometimes tense competition for fantastic prizes. And wouldn't you know it, a team from Hamilton is among those taking part in the latest edition of the popular TV show this summer. Joining me on Newsmakers are Tina and Liz Liao, Amazing Race Canada participants from Hamilton. Ladies, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Rick. Thanks so much for having us.
All right, so for the viewers who are watching this on YouTube and all the other podcast platforms video-wise, who's Tina and who's Liz?
I'm Tina. I'm Liz.
Amazing.
And we'll always be in this formation, Tina and Liz.
That is awesome. All right, Tina, we'll start with you. What compelled you to compete in the Amazing Race Canada?
Well, Liz and I fell in love with the Amazing Race TV show since we were 12 years old. It was a family show that we all watched together, and we loved to talk about how amazing we'd be on the show, and we finally just had to prove it to everyone.
Liz, can you talk about your audition tape and how you auditioned for the show and finally got on? And was this the first time you auditioned?
We've been auditioning since season 1 for this show, so you can tell that we're super fans, and this has been a lifelong dream for us to be on the show. The first step of getting onto the show is to do a 3-minute video clip. So we got together and filmed that, and I guess the rest is history.
Wow. So Liz, we'll stay with you. When you told family, friends that you were doing this, what was their reaction?
Yeah, our parents were actually super surprised. We didn't tell anybody that we applied except for our partners. And so when we told our parents that we actually got on the show, they were so surprised and didn't realize that we had applied so many times. So they were super excited for us.
Tina, now that you have experienced the Amazing Race Canada, of course, we can't talk about how the show went down, but bring us to getting on the show, having the cameras around, and then competing against other teams. That must have been a thrill of a lifetime.
I mean, the whole experience was really a dream come true. We had been wanting it for so long. We got close to getting on the show several times, and so having it actually be fulfilled this year was an absolute dream come true. We were a little bit kind of starstruck at all the teams that were on the race this season because they're so accomplished. A lot of them have really big followings, and we really consider ourselves just two normal people. And it was really awesome to get to know all the teams and to be able to run the race with them.
So cool. Liz, you're at the starting line. It's leg 1. You have 9 other teams around you. Everyone's got their backpacks. You're raring to go. What's going through your mind? What's going through your body?
Yeah, it was a bit of an out-of-body experience because we've seen the start line 11 times on the Canadian version of the show and just watched it and wished that that was us. So for that to actually be where we were standing beside each other with 9 other teams was kind of surreal and just crazy. So I think it's not really going to hit us until we see it on TV and see that those 2 people are us.
I'll ask you about that a little later on in the podcast, but I'm going to ask both of you, and Liz, we'll start with you on this one. The common refrain from participants, and we hear it often throughout the show, is it looks easy on TV, but once you're actually on the show, it is much harder. Liz, can you relate to that?
Yeah, that's so true. It's very easy to sit at home and say, oh, I would kill that challenge. Like, how are they missing that? That's so easy. But when you're in the moment, the adrenaline's running, you're sleep deprived. There's people competing neck and neck with you. It's a very different experience. So that was very interesting for us to be able to experience and learn how to deal with. It's also funny because when the show is airing, the cameraman always will zoom in and they'll highlight exactly what you're getting wrong. But obviously in real life, you have no idea what you're getting wrong. So it could be a multitude of things and it's not always super clear.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, as we're watching as fans on TV, again, it looks easy. How did you miss that? Or how can you not have gotten that right? Or whatever the case is. But I'm sure you had a lot of fun with it. Another question for both of you, and Tina, we'll start with you. Representing Hamilton on this show, what was that like?
Oh, it was incredible representing Hamilton. And as you know, Hamilton has a long standing history of really good, amazing racers. You know, Gino and Jesse from Hamilton won season 3, and we really look up to them. Steph and Kristen, winners of season 4, also live in Hamilton right now. So Hamilton has, a really good track record, and we're really excited to represent Hamilton. We're born and raised in Hamilton, and we're really proud to be Hamiltonians.
And Liz, same question, just representing Hamilton on this amazing adventure.
Yeah, it was amazing to be able to represent our hometown. Our parents came to Canada and they were able to come here because of the McMaster University. So we're so proud to be from this city, and it was amazing to be able to represent, our city to all of the country and show what we can do.
Now, if I get this right, Tina, you're a lawyer and Liz, you're a doctor. Talk about being away from work. What was that like?
It was certainly very different. We are not used to being unplugged at all. So we were unplugged from work for several weeks. Truthfully, Rick, it was amazing to not have to work. And every single day we cherished not only being on the race, but not having to go to our jobs.
How many emails did you have when you returned to the office?
You know what? I actually had very little. I only had 600 emails, which I'm so grateful for.
Only.
Yeah, it was a very different experience for sure. Me being in medicine, I had to switch around my call schedule, which was already placed. I had to hire somebody to cover my practice of patients for my clinic. But it was so worth it. It was something that, if we were lucky enough to get the opportunity to run this race, there was nothing that was going to stop us in doing it.
So let's talk about, and you kind of referenced this earlier, you're going to be able to watch yourself compete in these events, race against other teams, travel across the country. What do you think you're going to see and key in on when you see yourselves?
I think it'll be a really interesting experience. We don't have a lot of video, on camera experience. So it will kind of be surreal to see ourselves. We've already seen a couple of promo photos for the episode 1, and they're really funny.
Why was it you two that had to be on the race? Why are you the best partners for each other? And you can both answer this.
Yeah, we're twins, and we really don't think that there's a relationship more special than being twins. Like, we've known each other since, I always like to joke, since day negative 280, because it wasn't even since the day of our birth. It was including, the time that we shared in the womb together. Yeah. So we know each other better than anybody in the entire world. There's nobody I trust more than my sister. I know that she can get the job done when it gets hard. I know that she can support me when I'm feeling down. And part of the reason why we wanted to do this race so badly since we were little kids is because it's a team-based race, and because we knew the two of us together would be the best team.
And what did you learn about yourselves? Because a lot about this race is, you have to trust your teammates. You have to rely on your teammate in certain circumstances. If they don't perform, that could add stress to the dichotomy of the team. What did you learn about yourselves?
Yeah, honestly, we just learned that we wholeheartedly trust each other and believe in each other. And, I believe in Liz almost more than I believe in myself. And I know that anything I can do, I truly believe she can do just a little bit better. And we can communicate without even speaking. Sometimes Liz knows what I'm thinking before I even formulate the thought. And the race really just reinforced that, and reinforced how lucky we are to have each other in our lives. Yeah. Yeah, I was always so proud of, telling people about my sister and talking about her. And the race just made that even more obvious, that I'm just so proud to have her as my sister.
That's amazing. As the show is called The Amazing Race Canada, you can watch it on CTV and Crave, and we're all going to be cheering, at least in this part of the world, cheering on Tina and Liz, who join us here on the Newsmakers podcast. So back to leg number 1. There's 9 other teams on the race with you. Are you sizing them up as you're kind of joining in the first episode and say, I don't know about this team could be a threat. This team, maybe we could take them. What were going through your minds as you're looking at the other teams?
Yeah, so we're standing at the starting line. All teams are lined up. We're at the top of Whistler Mountain, and we are looking at all the teams. Honestly, everyone looks so strong.
Hmm.
Everyone seems extremely smart when they're answering John Montgomery's questions. Everyone looks so race ready. So we're definitely feeling a little bit nervous and just really excited to finally start the race.
And I'm sure all the other teams are feeling the same. Like, this is a new experience for everyone, and they've probably been watching the show like you have for years.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. We were just so excited to get to know the teams and see what they were like. And standing on that starting line is the first time that we've heard them even speak. So we're trying to gather all the data and say, okay, this person answered this question like this person said this. What does it mean? How does that stack up compared to us? So we're running all this data through in our heads and trying to make, sense of it and kind of see where we stack along with the other teams. Yeah, I mean, one thing about us is we're always observing. So we're looking at every single detail of these teams, who's wearing a wedding ring, like who has this tattoo. We're taking all these meticulous notes to try to learn as much as possible about our competition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to pay attention because if you want to get to the end, there are some skill testing scenarios and that test your memory and your knowledge. So good on you for being that observant. I'm not sure every team is going to think in the way that you did, but what's it like being on the race, knowing that there's many legs to come, there's twists and turns? Is that rolling in your mind, or are you kind of just going with the flow?
For sure. Yeah, we definitely have an end goal in mind. And the end goal is to become the first sisters to win the Amazing Race Canada. So although we would love to win leg one, that's not what we're thinking about at the starting line. We're thinking about making it through to the next leg and then making it through to the next leg after that, and then getting to that finale and winning. So we're at the starting line, we're thinking of kind of using leg one as training wheels, almost getting our feet under us, getting to know what it's like being on camera running the race. And that's really our goal for the first episode.
How stressful is it? And again, we haven't seen any of the episodes, but I would imagine at some point you're not always in first place and you're trailing or trying to catch up to the next team. What's that stress like?
Yeah, well, one of our big goals through this competition was to get used to that pressure. As nice as it is to always be in first place, we don't always want to be there because we want to feel that pressure of being at the back of the pack, having to come back from, the bottom. And it's stressful, but at the end of the day, all you can do is just race your hardest and try your best. So, even if things aren't going totally well, you just have to leave it behind and focus on the next task and do the best you can.
Another amazing part about the Amazing Race Canada is the friends that you make during the competition. How many friends have you made, and where are they?
Yeah, I mean, there were 10 teams, so we've made 18 new friends from the race. No, and everyone's been so supportive. We get to know each other during the race, but we don't have that much time. But, after we've all come home, we've all been in a group chat. We've been supporting each other and just so excited to all, watch us run the race on TV soon. Yeah, we also made a bunch of friends along the way who helped us because a lot of the race involves you reaching out to strangers, asking them to borrow their phones and asking for directions. And we met so many sweet people along the way who were so helpful. And it's really nice to be able to connect with them after the race as well.
That's amazing. Are you allowed to talk about the downtime, like when you're not on camera?
I don't think we're allowed to say too much about the behind the scenes process. Yeah. But we will say that we spent a lot of time together, the two of us, and it was such a blessing. I couldn't have spent that much time with anyone else in the world.
That is incredible. I do want to ask you about leg one, and I know you can't get into specifics, but I understand there's the biggest twist ever in Amazing Race Canada history. Were your minds blown?
Yes, we were shocked. It was not expected whatsoever. So we are super fans. We have seen every single episode of the Canadian iteration of Amazing Race, probably, at least 2 or 3 times. So for there to be surprises that we did not expect whatsoever was mind-blowing to us. And not even just one surprise, like multiple surprises.
Yeah, we really thought we knew it all. And it felt like this season, the producer specifically said, Tina and Liz know exactly what to expect. And so we're going to do the opposite every time.
I'm sure that made it fun yet challenging at the same time.
Yeah, it really messed with us because, we're planners. We like to know what to expect. So it was a roller coaster for sure.
You mentioned the name John Montgomery, the outstanding host of this show since day one. What was it like having him around, directing traffic, being on the mat with him on the other side?
The first time I saw John Montgomery, I was absolutely starstruck. He looks the exact same as he does on all the seasons of The Amazing Race Canada. I swear he doesn't age. And he's just such a charismatic, positive presence. And it really made the race so much cooler to have him there.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty cool. Okay, final question for you, and I'd love for both of you to answer this. And Tina, we'll start with you. What's your advice to the next crop of Amazing Race Canada participants? What should they know?
Yeah, well, first thing I'll say is even if you've applied multiple times and haven't gotten through, just keep trying, because it's hard to handle rejection and have to do another, application video after having been rejected. But if you push through it, the reward on the other side is so worth it. And it's all about timing and the composition of the teams that year. So keep trying. And then prepare as much as possible. There's no such thing as over preparing. So practice all different kinds of challenges, watch the show so many times, and then just be ready for, twists and turns of a lifetime.
And Liz, any parting advice to future participants?
Yeah, I would say choose your partner wisely, because it really makes a huge difference. There were so many times on the race where I was feeling down or I was feeling stressed or upset. And to have my sister there beside me, knowing exactly what to say and what to do, was the biggest blessing ever. And I couldn't imagine doing this with anybody else. So the person that you pick to be your partner is super important.
It all kicks off on July 7th, CTV and Crave. Tina and Liz, thank you for joining us on the Newsmakers podcast. Best of luck on Amazing Race Canada Season 12.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that is a wrap for the Newsmakers podcast. A big thanks to the all-star cast behind the scenes. If you liked today's episode, click the thumbs up, hit subscribe. You can leave a comment as well. Catch the Newsmakers podcast on chch.com/podcasts and wherever you get your favorite podcasts.